Hey everybody, it's Allison, stlprostretch.com. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks. Today we're going to talk about working on the splits. Seems like a lot of people want to learn how to do the splits lately. And I'm going to admit, I'm not one that really works on them too much, but I have had to recently for a yoga challenge, and I found it quite enlightening. I found it great. It was great feeling so free after I went through all of the stretches that I did to try to get into the splits. I've seen a lot of people with videos out there, like peddling their, learn to do the splits in 30 days or whatever. I have a little bit different approach, but it is along the same lines. It does take some work, and it's a lot of muscles involved. So, and then also, I like to maintain the integrity of my splits by keeping my back leg from turning out too much. And that would be the yoga way the true yoga way for Hanumanasana. So we're going to get started here. As usual, don't do it if it hurts. Work within your range of motion, and that is really important on this one because you're going to have to be getting feedback from your muscles. Sometimes the resistance stretching can be a really strange sensation, and you feel the fire and you're not really sure where to stop. Well, just err on the side of caution with this one for sure, because you can hurt yourself. So don't do it if it hurts. Work within your range of motion, and for the most part, just move and resist. So let's get started. I've got some yoga blocks and blanket. You might not need all these things, but so we're gonna get started, and I'm gonna slide my socks on for this first demo. I'm gonna move my mat back just a bit and slide my socks on. And of course, I'm gonna work in my on my good leg first, so I don't embarrass myself too much. My Ki-hara teacher, the first teacher that I had, she always said, if you want to work on the splits, go get yourself a couple chairs and a pair of roller skates. Just move in and out. And that is a great way to start. If you've got rollerblades, if you've got roller skates, you've got some chairs, you can just kind of work in and out of it that way. I prefer to use the yoga blocks, so I'm going to set my yoga blocks in a high position, and I've got my socks on. You could use chairs if you want to be up a little higher. Some of you might. Yep. And I'm going to slide one leg forward and the other leg back. And I've got a long way to go for the splits, but I'm going to pull in and out of it. And I'm kind of going to sense, okay, where is this tightness occurring for me? What do I need to do to open myself up to get all the way in the splits? And this is my tight side. And I can feel my front hamstring is barking at me. And my right quad, my back leg, my quad, and my hip flexor are barking at me. So I've got some work to do on that side. Maybe I should work on this side today so we can work on it together. So let's get started. Let's work on those hamstrings. So this would be my central hamstring. It might actually be a little bit of my lateral hamstring as well. I'm not sure. I can't really feel, but mostly feels like my central hamstring. So I'm going to get started on that central hamstring. And I've got a blanket. I'm going to put it on the ground. I always like to pad up my knees a little bit. And my blocks. And since I'm going to be working on my more challenging leg, I'm going to pull my left foot forward, and I'm kneeling, and I'm going to pull my heel toward me to contract the hamstring, and then I'm going to pull back while I'm pulling the heel toward me. So this is contraction, concentric contraction, eccentric contraction, so the muscle is lengthening. And I just keep moving in and out of that position. I'm going to do about 12 reps. Feel free to work in and out of this as deeply as you want and slow as you want. I can tell my calves are tight. How can I tell my calves are tight? I feel it behind my knee. So usually if you feel something behind your knee, that's your calf telling you, I'm tight. Yeah. I have chronically tight calves. And then I'm going to work right into that hip flexor position. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to pull my inner thighs together. So this front heel should feel like it's pulling back towards you. You might want to get a chair or something to hang on to, you don't fall over. And then this back knee, imagine the back knee pulling forward. So I've got that contraction going on. I'm going to do the opposite of sticking my butt out. So I don't want that, the lumbar spine to curve. I want it, imagine your hips are a bowl of water and you want the water to spill out the back. So sometimes if you do that, that's just already going to give you the contraction that you need. And now I'm going to shift forward and back from this position. And today I'm going to choose to do something a little strange, a little different than I usually do, just because I think it's going to help me get into the splits a little bit better. I'm only going to do one side for this video, so if you want to work on the other side, you'll have to start it over. I am going to bring a hand down, either to the mat or to a block, and I'm going to turn and twist. And I'm going to tuck my back toe under, and I'm going to lift up and just stretch this knee forward and the heel back. Yeah. And then we're going to straighten out the front leg and bring the hips back and twist. And you can kind of move in and out of that twist. This is not a resistance stretch, but it's a mobility stretch. And it should feel like your outer hamstring is getting a little stretch here. This is going to help you keep that integrity of the back leg. So if you stretch this outer hamstring out, it's going to help you from turning the back foot and the back knee out. That's what I wanted to do it. Also, we will be doing the standing version of the lateral hamstring as well. But first we're going to get into the quad. So I've done 1,000, well not 1,000 because I only have like 100 videos or so, but I've kind of a lot of videos on the quad stretching at the wall. You could use your foot on a chair instead of the wall. I've got this blanket. It's out about 4 to 6 inches away from the wall. Keep in mind, the closer your knee is to the wall to do this stretch, the more intense it's going to be. So if you're not very mobile in your quads, I would say move the blanket out, get yourself lots of padding. You might want to stack up a couple blankets, maybe even 3 blankets up here. I've got my knee on the blanket. I'm going to move my blocks out, and I'm going to bring the other foot through, and I'm going to push this foot up the wall. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I'm going to push it up the wall and bring this foot through. So I'm balancing here. You might need a chair to hang on to or a walker or whatever you got. I'm going to push my foot into the wall. My foot can either be toe pointed or toe tucked under, pushing into the wall. Keep pushing into the wall and back it up. You might want to do a few strength first, but I'm just going to do it strength and stretch. I'm hungry for the stretch. A lot of times I don't have patience for the strength unless it's a muscle that I know is weak that I really need to work on strengthening it. So I'm just going to work on getting that stretch. Pushing into the wall, keep pushing into the wall and back it up. Do opposite of sticking your butt out. Don't let your butt stick out. You're going to lose a lot of the stretch that way. Again, 10 to 12 reps, something like that. I'm not even counting. I'm just what I kind of do is I just feel the muscle, and once it starts feeling like it's opening up, then cool, move on. All right, okay. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I could go back a little farther, I suppose. I'm just hungry for stretching today. And then we're going to move on to lateral hamstring. We're still working on the same leg, so the left leg in the front, the right leg in the back, or whichever leg you're on, just stay in the same position, because then the other leg will do the opposite. Lateral hamstring stretch. I'm going to turn around. My left leg is at the wall. My right leg is behind. I'm going to turn my hips forward. I'm going to lift the back leg, reach down with my right hand toward the floor until I feel a stretch, and then come back up again. So this is also going to get into that lateral line and a little bit of the central hamstring. So we've got both going on. Remember, as your chest comes down, your back leg lifts. I don't want to see this going on because there's really not any stretching going on. You're just reaching for the floor, and that's not the goal. If we want to get into the lateral line, lateral hamstring a little bit more, turn your shoulders toward the wall. That should increase it a bit. Eventually, you're going to be able to get your finger maybe down toward the ground, but that is not the object of this exercise at all. All right. Next, we're going to do abductor and adductor on both sides. So abductor, I'm going to cross my left ankle over my right knee. I'm going to push my ankle into the right thigh, and I'm going to sit back. I'm going to stick my butt out and get that glute stretch. Yeah. That's exactly what I needed today. You may want to do both sides on this one. So I think I probably will do both sides on this one. We're going through a lot of stretches here. I'm unusually quiet. All right, and then you can do the other side if you'd like. It might help your back leg as well to get these abductors open. If you did both, then you wouldn't have to do it on the other side. So I'm pushing my right ankle into my left thigh. I'm bending at the knee. I'm using my ankle to push myself back up again. I did not mention that before, but I'm moving in and out of it, but I'm mostly using my top leg to get that action going. So my standing leg is not really feeling a lot of tension because it's mostly my bent leg that's doing the work. And then I am sticking out my butt behind me. You might want to do some TFL stretches in here as well. That might help. And then we're going to go into a downward dog stretch with a lift. First, we're going to do an adductor stretch. So grab your blanket, and I'm going to take my right leg out to the side. I'm going to push down into the mat with my left foot. I'm going to take my hands behind my head. I'm going to lean and get the adductor stretched out. Now, if you start feeling this in the side of your hip, you need to do the TFL stretch, and I'll show you that in a minute. And if you're getting that cramp, you're probably like, in a minute. You're going to be done with this stretch in a minute. Okay, so we'll break it up. TFL stretch. I'm going to take that same leg, cross it behind my other knee, open my feet, lift, and lower. So you should feel a stretch on the side of the hip. Kind of jut that hip out to the side a little bit to get into it. And you might want to do both sides on this one too. Just trying to make this a little bit short and sweet. So that should take care of your TFL so that you can go back to this one. I don't do this one enough. Oh, it's a good stretch. Also for QL, for your side waist and obliques and QL, it's lovely. If you're not a knee person, you could also do this one standing. It gets in there just as well. You're just kind of pulling your inner thighs together and leaning. Okay? All right. Next, we're going to do downward dog with, I like to do this one with ankle weights. But if you don't have any ankle weights, that's fine too. So this is what that would look like. I'm going to put this around my ankle. I'm going to get two things done at once. I'm going to get my calves stretched out. And I'm also going to get my glutes worked on at the same time. This is one of my favorite exercises to do with clients because we get a stretch and we get the glute stuff all at the same time. So it really is a wonderful one. All right, so we're going to start in a downward dog position. You're going to tuck your toes under, lift your heels, and I am going to start with my right leg back, since that's the leg that I'm going to be doing, that's the direction I'm going to be doing the split. So I'm going to just keep lifting and lowering my leg, and you should be getting a great calf stretch out of it. You could actually lower your heel as you lift the foot and then lift the heel as you bring them together. I know that's kind of awkward, but it's going to give you a little bit better calf stretch. And then I would say, see if you can do about 20 of these, See what that gets you. Each time you can kind of work into it a little deeper, press your chest down. Yeah. And then we're going to work on doing the split up at the wall. I've got another video on this. It's hammy and calves at the wall. And here's what it looks like. It is a little advanced, that I will say. I'm going to turn my mat around and I'm going to put it near the wall. Make sure you don't have any paintings on the wall. So I'm going to put my foot, my left foot is kind of close to the wall. Your heel can be up the wall if you want it to be, but don't bring it too far out because it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to try to keep my heel on the ground, but if yours pops up, that's fine. And then you're going to slide the other foot up the wall and press. Just keep pressing and see if you can walk your hands toward the wall a little bit more. Just keep walking them out. As you can see, well, I don't know if you can see or not, but this foot, the one that's up at the wall, I've got my toe tucked under, and I'm making sure that my knee doesn't roll out to the side. So that's how I'm keeping the integrity of this stretch. This one can get rather intense. Oh, yes. All right, and then I'm going to come out, and I'm going to try my splits again and see if that got me anywhere. So again, this is my bad leg. I had quite a bit of space between my pelvis and the floor. So we're going to try it again and see if that made any difference at all. So got my blocks, one on each side, and I'm going to take it down. And indeed, I am quite a bit closer to the floor. This is where, if I'm close, I'm going to bend this front leg and kind of pump it out a little bit. I'm going to pull my heel toward me, and then I'm going to back it up, pull it toward me, and back it up. I'm feeling this in my hip flexor on the back leg, and I'm feeling it, my hamstring on the front leg, kind of contracting a little bit. I'm going to do that a little bit and then see if I can slide in and out of it a few times. Just getting into that hamstring a little bit more. And I'm almost there. So I've gotten, I would say, from start to finish, I've probably gotten about 4 or 5 inches closer to the ground. I mean, sure, I could go, but I could go all the way down. I can feel that I could go all the way down, but I'm not going to push it today. So this is something that you would work on over time. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to be able to do the splits in 15 minutes or splits in 20 minutes, but if you were to practice that sequence on even a weekly basis, you're going to get closer. I know it. So that's how I would work into doing the splits. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Until next time, happy stretching. Bye-bye.